Welcome back to more Breakout Series action here at event number 2. Cameron Davis, Wonder Chef. Let's get back into this things. Matches have taken a while, a little bit, so we're going to be going back, not in time, but back in the bracket to another quarterfinal, this time between Skill Issue and Portland Burnsiders.
Yeah, not to be confused with Portland Deathsiders. Yeah, they're just doing this to confuse us. This is the original team, though, Portland Burnsiders, one that I believe was here even all the way back from Halloween Havoc. So they are a tried and true team in the Breakout Series. They weren't on broadcast last time, which is unfortunate, but they're here this time, and we're going to see a whole bunch of teams that we didn't get a chance to see, which, of course, makes me super pumped.
Yeah, exactly. And the winner of this series is going to be going up against IQ in the second semifinal. IQ have been waiting very, very patiently. They won their previous series against Iron-Blooded Orangutans 2-0. It's been almost all 2-0s. That's not true. There's been a lot of 2-0s, though, in the bracket now that I'm looking over everything. But yeah, Skill Issue versus Portland Burnsiders. And Skill Issue, they ended the previous event in, let me count, 6th place, 50% win rate. They lost to Tekka Dynasty, who, as we remember, got 2nd, as well as Bozos, who were there, ended in 4th place. So, you know, they lost to eventual good placing teams, but, you know, still, there's room for improvement for sure.
Yeah, it's a weird kind of reform of a team, Skill Issue. Same thing with a lot of the different teams that we saw in the last tournament. Portland Burnsiders have been pretty consistent throughout the entire both seasons of the Breakout Series, but particularly Skill Issue, there was one version of Skill Issue that had a bunch of players that are no longer on it anymore. So it seemed to me like last time it was a little bit of a kind of readjustment where they're like, okay, let's see how we do together as a team. And there were some really good moments, but it wasn't quite enough to beat some of these really dominant teams that we saw last event.
Yeah, well, we'll see how much their skill has increased as they face off against the Portland Burnsiders. I don't think the Portland Burnsiders were in Celestial Assault.
Oh, maybe they weren't. Maybe that was one of them that they actually missed. They're just such a consistent team that I just tend to think that they are just in every event. And in fact, actually, they've been recently running these like a pug server where rather than, just queuing up, they have been running specific times during the day where most of the good players in the region or slightly out of region have been getting together and just playing with each other. And there's been some really good high level experience. I don't know if I'm 100% right. Somebody tell me in chat, but I'm guessing that's why Portland Deathsiders have changed their name to that. But still, huge shout outs to Portland Burnsiders for that. I'm sure somebody in there will be able to share the info, I guess. I don't know exactly how, but it's been really cool.
Oh, apparently they were in Celestial, but they were under a different name because the site that I'm looking at doesn't include them. Either way.
Yeah.
Okay,
there's a lot of things.
Okay, there was a Portland merger somewhere, and things are incredibly complicated. There were shell companies all over the place. They're trying to dodge taxes with all this nonsense. So I'm not the IRS, so I'm not going to look into it. Point is, we're going into this next match, and the other point is that these are all players that do have some level of competitive experience, whether or not they were in the previous events or not, right? Like none of these are not newcomers.
Right.
That's the main point.
Far from newcomers. They were newcomers. That's one of the things, of course, that we've loved to see over the course of this circuit and this tournament and this game are these teams that did start out as newcomers, whether they were either new to Gundam Evolution or new to competing in general. But we see them get better and better over time. Portland Burnside since the start, and we can actually see where the picks and bans were. Is that the Skill Issue logo? That's a great logo.
Yeah, it's Jim. But also, you see what map number 1 is going to be?
Oh, I do! Let's go! That will be, of course, Colony Trading Post, the newest map in Gundam Evolution for Season 2 of Gundam Evolution, and the newest one added to the competitive map pool here in the Breakout Series. We only got a chance to see it once, but I am a big fan of this map. Visually, I am just so jazzed for actually that map and the second map we're going to see, Harbor City. We usually talk about how much we love seeing the scale of things, being able to, you're like, wow, there's buildings around me. I'm in a Gundam. And both of those maps, so good for it.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, we have Colony. We saw some new Gundam already. Chef is a very, very happy boy today. And we're like barely halfway through the bracket at the moment. Not even, because we have to go back in time.
Right. Yeah, we had to, we get an extra match, and they're rewarding us for the extra match by playing some cool maps. Exactly. Of course, we're going to be moving to Underground Command Center as our decider. If we do get to a game 3, you were right. We usually do get a lot of just 2-0s, regardless if it's close or not. It seems like if you have that slight edge, you do end up getting the 2-0. So we've seen a lot of, the infamous close sweeps, as they say, but that does happen a lot here.
Yeah, I also note that we don't have a domination in this best of 3 series. It's going to be destruction to point capture, and then back to destruction if we do hit that third map. So point capture and destruction, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but they are a lot more similar than domination is. So it seems that, well, one, neither of these teams are particularly keen to play a domination map, but also there's not going to have to be any sort of like reframing of your strategy. It's just going to be a more similar flowchart process from map 1 to map 2 and then to map 3.
Right. I would totally agree with that, especially with the 3 maps that they did end up choosing. Maybe aside from like Flak Fort, these are probably the most open maps in the game, at least for some of their points. So I do feel like both of these teams overall probably decided that they did not want to play the close-up game. They didn't want to play on a map such as maybe Quarry, for example, that has a ton of tight angles, even though it can have some longer angles. They just went for the full out, like, okay, we're pushing down this long open area, and we're going to see who's better with either the Gym Sniper or the Turn A or whichever long range you want to use. Yeah,
exactly. We're currently waiting on a player before we get this next event, this next series started. But we're just going to hang out for now. And while we wait so we can get in the second that player has arrived, is there any particular... So in Colony, we've only seen it once so far, but is there anything, whether it's in terms of unit composition or even just playstyle, that makes it stand out amongst the other destruction maps, or is it kind of just more of the same?
Well, I think it's just a very strange map in general. Of course, they added the mechanic of the raising and lowering walls that change the angle that you get on the actual bomb sites. That's kind of the selling point of the map, and that is kind of strange. But I would say the most strange thing about it is the fact that the relay for especially the very first point is very out of the way. So teams have to make a really dedicated decision. Are we going to defend the relay, the waypoints, or are we going to just sit on site, let them take that, and then push us from 2 different angles? And we only got a chance to see it once.
It's there's another map that has a similar sort of waypoint it's another destruction map. It's not in the current competitive map pool, but it's another one that's like on a moon sort of space where that waypoint is like way off onto the side. So yeah, I mean, it's different this time around. Yeah, definitely compared to Underground Command Center and Quarry, who the waypoint is like on the way to the sites for destruction.
Right. Yeah. You have to make a really tough decision. Usually, I think we tend to see the good teams kind of just hold on site and defend from 2 different angles, but that can be really tough. So that first point tends to be a little bit more tough for the defenders, and the second point tends to be much more of a choke point. But I also don't know exactly what these teams are going to be running. So honestly, as usual, this is just a huge, like, well, I guess let's just see. Hopefully we can see soon. Yeah.
I mean, we've only seen it once, right? So that's not nearly large enough of a sample size to make any sort of real observations. But yeah, I see what you mean with the waypoint. If it's off onto the side, it sort of gives you a decision you have to make, and it does make sense that the defenders would just give that away to the attackers, because it's not so much that you are splitting your forces, but it's when the attackers choose one of those 2 forces to deathball over, they have to then respawn before they can come back, which is going to be an immediate, like, half the defensive unit is gone to defend the actual site with. And the way that fights happen, if there's an advantage, it's almost exponential unit-wise rather than linear with like adding 1 or 2 more. We're going into the map. We're going into the match. It's Colony Trading Post.
And we are going to see skill issue on the left with Portland Burnsiders on the right. As far as team comps, it looks like we are going to have another Barbados on the side of Portland Burnsiders. The comp on the side of skill issue, I would say, is pretty much a core comp. It's pretty much what we'd expect to see from most of these teams.
Yeah. Burnside, I mean, it's the same comp. It's just the melee unit that's different, unless I'm missing something between the 2 sides. But here is going to be the first point. Burnsiders not holding any sort of forward position, not holding the waypoint either. Instead of just trying to hold the site itself. On the one time that we saw this map previously, this was where all of the action happened. So we might just have that happen again.
Well, let's see if the offense is deciding to try and take that waypoint. It looks like we're going to see a push basically towards the waypoint, but not... Oh no, one person defending. You see, that's the issue there. Boondiggles actually was defending that waypoint, gets killed, and now there's a full run back. And like you said, it's going to end up being a 4v6, a 5v6, depending on how many other suits go down. And the respawns are going to be so quick for this offense.
Yeah, Killer got taken out, Freddy now taken out, so Burnsiders, they're pushing forward. Looks like they're even getting the Mega Charge armed for skill issue despite losing a couple of players. Oh, just barely does the charge get armed before the Sazabi gets taken out. Killer Umbrella sneaking on in to try and make sure that the defuse can't happen so quickly.
Yeah, Killer Umbrella is going to pick up a little bit more health, and this is one of the hardest defuses in the entire game. You need to clear out the entire top floor because there are grates you can see right here that you can totally shoot through. So you have to clear out the entire top floor, then the bottom floor, and hope nobody rotates back up top, and then get the defuse. It's just so difficult, and right now we're seeing Portland Burnsiders have a tough time with it.
And the Pale Rider's coming up huge for a skill issue at the moment. Victus dealing a lot of damage, in fact, overhealing right now. Killer Umbrella is also finding a heal you can see on the left side, but Boondiggle's trying to come in and trying to get the discharge, but here comes Jay Slay dropping down with the Sazabi. Heavy damage. Shield at the ready to not get taken out. It's going to be the Pale Rider as well, getting 3 kills in the kill feed to clear the area, defend the area.
That's actually incredible. They managed to get that disarm off. That was kind of a sneaky little option. We're seeing the Hades right now get up on Evictus. Probably not going to use it quite yet. There are 3 suits down on the side of Portland Burnsiders. It's a little bit of a stagger. Hopefully they can get the Oh, no, they're not going to regroup. This actually could be just, again, the continuation of the stagger.
Verite pushing forward there on the Ashamar. That unit's job is to keep everyone distracted and looking in multiple angles because of the verticality. But Neo Nile trying to find a nice angle of attack of their own to deal some damage to try and break on in, because that bomb is 25 seconds away from going up and they need to get the defuse. Like, they snuck one previously, but can they do it a second time?
This is also a tough one. You're so out in the open if you're trying to defuse here. Nice! The Hades gonna take down Fuerte, gonna take down Boneskill, the Bonekill. There are just so many. Yes, that is exactly what you want to get out of that G maneuver.
Huge play from Neo Nile. Stalls for a second as the G maneuver goes down, but didn't have enough time with all that damage to get the defuse. The bomb went out, and we have 2.5 minutes added to the clock, looking at 4 minutes total to go to the second site.
And down here is where it can get very difficult. There are a lot of choke points. There's a lot of close range fights. The map changes completely down here, and this can be a very difficult waypoint to take, but oh!
Victus, great shot, does get knocked away by the G maneuver from the opposing Dom Trooper, but they're still getting positioning onto the waypoint. That's going to make it easier to push ever forward onto the site itself and get another mega charge. Plant Barbatos doesn't spot it out, misses the stun. Bonekill is there with teammates to drop that melee unit out of the game for at least a few seconds. If they can get a bomb plant off of that, this will be huge, and they could snowball this into a round 1 victory.
The question is, are they going to go for B or for A? Both of them are very hard to retake, but in different ways, depending on your team. It feels like their team is going to be very strong at defending B, and it does look like that's the plan for the plant. The Mega Charge will go down, and look at this. We're going to see Boondiggles just holding this site. Oh, getting the slam! Very nice! Not quite enough, though!
Oh, and runs back into a Dom mine and does go up for that, so wasn't able to capitalize on that stun as much as he was hoping for, as much as we expected out of it. And it looks like skill issue. They're pushing on back over on to the side. 30 seconds for a defuse to come on in.
Oh, and with that Unicorn G maneuver, it can be really tough in that tight space, but that's going to be a great way to get rid of it, going with the punch. G maneuver for G maneuver, but we are about 1/3 of the way from the exploding here, and there are just not many suits left for the side of Portland Burnsiders. Only one. They've got one final push, but somebody's going to have to sit on there to get that extended time if they can even get there.
Yeah, and there's a G maneuver at the ready, and there's looking like a few more in line if the Sazabi G maneuver for skill issue doesn't work, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't need to be used. The Ashamar is there, the Pale Rider is there, the defense is there. It's going to be a round 1 over. It's going to be a 2 bomb site completion for a skill issue with a good amount of time left over.
That's one of the most successful offenses that I've seen on that map. It can be very difficult to break through. This is one of those maps where I feel like when I see the good teams play on it, both teams have issues once the other one's on the defense, right? So once the plant is there, oh my gosh, look at that.
Damage on Evictus, 23k, and then 20k on Neonile as well. This is Pale Rider versus Pale Rider. These are the 2 stars of the show right now, and what's great is that we're going to be able to see even more of that fight while the rounds have swapped.
Yeah, I feel like that is very telling of the ranges of this map. Both of the Hades were used extremely well and basically pushed for potentially like the full defenses or the potentially full pushes. So I think so much is just going to depend on how they save their Hades over the course of this map. And it might just come down to who saves it better. The fact that Neonile got 20,000 damage while the rest of their team was just not quite even at 10,000 damage, that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, but listen, Sides of Swap, this is only the second time we have seen this map here on the broadcast, so we're kind of learning maybe this is a particularly attack or a particularly defensive-sided map. We don't really know at the moment. We need a larger sample size, and we're now waiting for Portland Burnsiders to come back and answer back with, as you say, that pretty strong showing from Skill Issues attack.
I was not expecting just a run through basically on the side of Skill Issue, but here we go. On offense, we are going to see most of the team splitting over towards the waypoint, which is what we saw on the other side as well. So it seems like we're going to have more players.
This is a pretty solid defense. No kills just yet, and it looks like the defender's going to be backing away, going to be getting up the waypoints. We don't want to see what we saw the first time with the defense losing a couple of players, which is what gave the attackers that initial leg to eventually get the bomb plan. Skill Issue are going to be backing away. Frete's there on the high ground, flying up in the air, flying up in the sky to try and get a first kill. Heavy damage on the Boon. Doesn't get the knock just yet, but Killer Umbrellas is there to finalize.
A great pick, a great pick on this defense. You do not want the any sort of melee getting up close onto these points. That can be very hard to deal with just based on the verticality of it. But at least getting knocked behind the wall, so it could be way worse.
Just the control that Skill Issue have on this bridge and the damage that's coming out is absolutely huge. There is some trading coming out from Burnsiders that they're not going down without a fight, a couple of knocks of their own, but the revives seem to be coming on in, and Skill Issue are just tightening that noose further and further.
This is exactly what we want to see as far as defense on this map. There is actually, there's a chance here. Whoa, we don't get a chance to see exactly how that played out, but doing a lot of damage up there on the melee, and we do see the melees kind of running into each other, but we're probably going to have to see an escape from Boon to get out of there, get the kind of regroup, and they might push for this waypoint again.
Problem is, if you want to talk about Hades, Evictus is already like 5% away from unlocking that, and Frete also 2% away from unlocking the punch. These DPS, range DPS units from Skill Issue are putting in the work, and they are getting rewarded for it.
We also see the ARC-78, which is a pick that we haven't seen throughout pretty much the rest of this broadcast so far, but I really love it on this mid-range. I love these little shots here. The punch can be a perfect angle for this little hallway. It's going to cover pretty much the entire thing if they decide to push through, but it looks like there's going to be a little bit of a retreat on the side of the offense.
Don't want to overcommit onto that one. You don't want to get too antsy. You're like, oh, I have my G maneuver. I need to use it right now. That's an easy way to sort of throw a lead that you have away. But Evictus unlocks there as Hades takes down the opposing Gundam and swings down the lower side. Understands exactly where the attack is coming from. Finds the angles, finds the damage, and gets all of the kills. Even following up with the Hades, not activated anymore, still getting the damage on in and making sure that Burnsiders know who the boss of this map is. It's Evictus.
Evictus has been clearly, I would say, the MVP of this map. Of course, Neonile as well, doing extremely well, but just overall getting a little bit more value out of those Hades, pushing them back so far with that. They've got another chance to push here, but there's actually a flanker. Oh, Fuerte manages to get out, was scared of getting flanked himself.
Full Transam activated for Killer Umbrellas. This is alive for now, gets a little bit of damage, but it does look like nothing's been fully finalized just yet. Frete and Evictus are getting kills in the kill feed, so this action that Killer Umbrellas is involved with is not for nothing. He's still working as that mobile distraction that you really want those melee units to be, pulling attention away from the range DPS, and Evictus is capitalizing heavily on it once again, as expected. 83 HP, no worry at all.
Well, especially with that healing field right there, just going to be, oh, actually just sees the Ashamar trying to sneak around, and Ashamar, one of Ashamar's least favorite people in the world, is an enemy Pale Rider, so you're not going to be able to sneak all that well. You can see exactly right there, Crumb having to retreat a little bit out of the rollout spots. This is not an easy spot. Crumb might get killed right here, and that would be a tough stagger.
He's trying to delay to allow the rest of the attack comes in. He is getting isolated, however, but we'll see if the rest of the team can't capitalize on his distraction, on the delay that he is putting in. He does go down, Lacrum. He is going to get eliminated, so it's once again all blue in the kill feed. The Mega Charge does get planted, but with virtually the entirety of Burnsiders eliminated, it should be a pretty straightforward defuse.
Ooh, or maybe not. At least they're going to get one pick. Oh, the G maneuver activated and tried to defend it. It's not going to be enough. That's unfortunate. That is a huge waste of resources. That Unicorn G maneuver can be huge on this particular site. We're actually going to see it on the other side as well from Skill Issue, and it's going to start to reset things here. A high ground Dom, though, that is one of the scariest things in the world, and it's going to get the down on Boom.
Screaming Nimbus at the ready as well. The Mega Charge plant is coming in. It does get delayed just in the nick of time on the site, and the Screaming Nimbus was there on the bridge to make sure that the rest of the attacking team can't get there for support, and that's going to be Skill Issue taking map number 1, 2-0. Burnsiders wasn't able to get even a single site destruction.
Extremely well played from Skill Issue. I mentioned it before. They were very much a new version of Skill Issue, you could say. They had a lot of newer players to the team in that previous tournament, and we saw them have a lot of strong individual plays, but it didn't seem like they were quite as ready to gel together. However, this version of them is looking stronger than ever, which is what we expect to see, and they're looking really good after taking that first game.
I think Burnsiders is going to be asking Bandai to bring in unit bans after that match, because Evictus on Pale Rider, I mean, it's an exaggeration to say that he could have 1v6 Burnsiders, but like looking at those numbers, is it that much of an exaggeration? I don't know.
Yeah, it's incredible, just the amount of mileage out of that Pale Rider, out of that Hades. We'll see if Portland Burnsiders have an answer for that when we get to the next map, but before that, we're going to take a short break as the players get into the lobby, so don't go anywhere. We're going to be back with game number 2.
Sick. That felt really good, Chef.
Yeah, improving for sure throughout the...
wanna cry.
Against Portland Burnsiders as we move into Harbor City for our second map of the set. And I expect that we're going to be seeing some sniping.
Yeah, and it's, oh, okay, Invictus. I'm actually happy about this because Invictus dominated for skill issue on the previous map. The logos at the top are flipped. Flip that around. It's skill issue on the right. It's Burnsiders on the left. Neo who was the opposing Pale Rider, went to the sniper. We have actually Frete, who, it's weird, they're doing a lot of swaps over. Frete was the Ashamar, is now on the sniper. Now it's Killer Umbrella, who was the Exia, who is on the Ashamar. I mean, this one can show how the versatility of all of these units, but it also shows that map to map what it demands as far as your teams that are, or your members that are like more close range versus mid range versus long range. That has to adjust, and you sort of scale your team, the units that your team plays on with that.
Yeah, and these teams are very, very good at that. I'm actually very excited to see Fuerte's Gym Sniper. They were extremely strong on the Gym Sniper in the previous tournament, and I'm also very excited to see Neo-Now's Sniper because their aim was so good. You know, the left clickers in this game are very scary left clickers, so I'm excited to see how that transfers over to the Gym Sniper. Never seen it before from them, but here we go. We're going to push out, and who's going to get the first Gym Sniper pick?
Ooh. Niles looking for the angle. Oh, nothing found just yet. Oh, Fuerte's going to be able to find the first pick onto LaCrum, but drops behind cover. So the revive is going to be there for Boondiggles, who was playing that Barbatos. Damage coming out, turns ahead, turns to the skies for the attacking Ashamar, pushing in on the area, but not giving up the zone, not giving up the spacing. Going to continue to play into this corner.
They're going to have to hold this off here. If they lose too many members, they are basically auto-losing A. It's what we saw before. Nice, the sniper is going to get some back shots into J-Slay. Getting that flank, can't protect what you can't see, and that's actually going to be a huge pick. We're still going to see Fuerte up, but not able to find anybody important than Neo-Nile. This might be the sniper match right here. Who's going to get the kill? Oh, nobody yet, nobody yet.
Shots past each other's bow. You don't want to overcommit onto this one, especially in Fuerte. He's playing this super defensively. He cannot go down. That's the main goal right now, is to make sure that this first site eats up as much time on the clock, because unless it's an absolute domination map, it's going to get taken eventually. It looks like it is going to be units onto the A site by Burnsiders. You're now trying to find more damage to just keep the defenders pushed back away from the site itself.
This is one final push. Yeah, they're going to have to make this count. There's only one tick left. They are going to get Neo-Nile down. They're going to get Awkward 5 down. This is a really successful push. They're going to get Crumb down. This might be the hold. Very few teams choose to push back this much when there's only one tick left on A, but it looks like the reward is going to be huge. We're also going to see there the turn A G maneuver, the butterfly being active, not being used quite yet, but that can hold for so long, especially once they get to that previous choke point, and they're going to have to push all over again.
Oh my God, the fact that the defenders actually took back that site once it hit 75%, and you saw Killer Umbrellas on 6 HP with the Barbatos right in his face, but here it is going to be the Moonbeam G maneuver at the ready. This is such a strong position for it to be used, and it's the whole reason you could argue why this unit is picked. Not a lot of kills with it, but it's the damage and the destruction of the spacing that the Burnsiders wanted to use to attack on this. We have a minute and a half left, and the fact that they haven't taken the A site just yet shows how strong of a hold this is for skill issue.
That is beautiful to see. I'm surprised they decided to use that G maneuver right away, but that means that they're really confident they're going to be able to hold A. Again, no picks. Bonekel, I always say that name wrong. Bonekel will be down, and there we go. Great pick on Tilter.
Sick headshot. Make sure to confirm tilter as well. And this is going to have to be the push. There's very little time in order for them to do it. Now pushing forward, trying to find more headshots, trying to take Invictus out. Victus falling away, as well as Killer Umbrella taking a lot of damage from, it looked like the opposing fire, but Lacrum and Neonile, yeah, they're dealing all the damage. They're getting all the push necessary to finalize, and it is going to be a finished A take, but the amount of time that's been eaten up by Skill Issue's strong defense, there's going to be very little room for error as they try and push in onto B.
There might be a bit of a downside, though, for the defense here. Using the G maneuvers to try and hold A longer and then not getting the full hold means you have that many less resources to hold this super important choke point. But there's the punch, and that is going to take down Crowderly and kind of Madigan. And there's going to be a third and a fourth. That punch led to basically an entire team wipe here. There's no way that Niall's getting out of that.
Amazing strategy usage there. Ashmar was there for the punch, and Invictus was there for the follow the damage. The Crumb has swung behind enemy lines to try and get some damage, but doesn't even find the first tick before Frerte. And Killer Umbrellas was able to get there to stop him. And that spacing, it did sort of disrupt the defender's hold of his initial choke just a little bit, but it looks like they've stabilized again. And just Burnsiders aren't really able to break through still. Neonile very, very low already, and it's Invictus with another kill. I mean, not a full kill just yet, but it's still a knock.
Ooh, that's tough. You do not want to get staggered in this particular spot. There's also not a lot of verticality that can be used. We're actually going to see Crumb switch over to the Mahiru, and oh, this could be really interesting. Full accuracy in the air. Can we get a pick from the air? Not quite. The healing from the turn A Gundam worked really well, but this is the start of the push. Oh, Neonile and Crowderly going down. Same with Boone. That's going to be the stop of that push, probably. Wait, no, there's a pick.
Oh, they were able to get the revival, and Boondiggle's out in the open, so he's going back in with his longsword, trying to get some more stuns. Doesn't find anything, though, has to fall away. And so even though the trades are looking good between the two squads, the actual line of scrimmage is not moving very much at all. Cullen Brothers is coming back, retreating back into his team. But again, just this Ashamar presence, being able to fly over this, deal some damage, and then return is huge.
The amount of G maneuvers on the side of Skill Issue is really kind of a deciding factor here. There's only 40 seconds left. That's one strong push. They did just use one of the G maneuvers. It's not going to be the biggest one. It's going to just give them sight on the other team. But we have the, oh my gosh, the biggest combo, the Methis plus turn A G maneuver combo. I think we're going to see it probably pretty soon.
Yeah, it's activating right now. Moonbeam dealing heavy damage, getting multiple kills. It's 5 down. It's all onto Boondiggles. And where is this last player? I think he's tried to run to B to get some presence on the site, but has to run away to get the healing. Can't even get onto the site itself. 10 seconds left, is staying alive, but needs to touch the site at some point in order for the rest of the team to follow up, because I don't know if there's enough time for anyone else to touch that site. Crowdy tried to jump on in. He's on it, but he's down almost immediately.
You know, a great attempt from the entire team there. Almost everybody got on point at some point. They really hustled to get back there, but at that point, you're really putting yourself in just too much danger, and a great hold there on the side of Skill Issue. All right, it's community, everybody out in chat. I have a request for all of you. I need somebody to decide on a name between the Moonbeam Butterfly Turn A G maneuver and the Methis Boost G maneuver. Like, somebody figure out a name for that combo. I'm waiting for all of you to decide it, because that is the classic now, and that is disgusting when it goes off.
Ooh. Looking at the damage numbers right now, and it looks like really even. Unsurprisingly, Invictus is in the lead, but Kill Umbrellas is not that far behind, and it's still good numbers from a lot of Skill Issue. But on Burnsiders, it's Neonile and no one else. I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg. Like, are they not able to get the damage, or like I don't know what's causing that, but that is definitely a big hole in I think what caused their struggles the previous round.
I agree, and I gotta say, Niall is incredible. Those damage numbers, and just the shots that we've seen from Niall,
yeah.
Just a player that is for sure one of the MVPs for me so far from what we've seen throughout all of today. But I agree with you. They just need to get that one little coordination. Even when they managed to find, I feel, the picks, they didn't get the push from it. There was that one moment where you said, oh, they're getting picks, but the line of scrimmage that you said isn't moving. I feel like they need to be able to coordinate that push. We'll see if they get an opportunity, well, I mean, in another game, because right now, of course, they're going to be defending.
Yeah. It also could just be skill issue able to just defend that much better. And again, it's all, oh my god, okay, very forward positioning here, and LaCrum there on a unit that you rarely ever see, trying to just zone skill issue away with all of these grenades. But again, it's going to be another pretty quick fallback just because of how open that spot can be.
Oh, great shot for it, taking down Boondiggles with that sniper, and that's going to be the first pick to try to facilitate that offense. Oh, another hit, just continuing to get more and more. That's exactly what you want to see out of the offensive sniper here, one of the most important units. And look at this, you can see Crumb getting pushed back so far, going to have a tough time dealing with any sort of airborne unit.
Oh, yeah, Victus there just making sure that he disrupts the entire defensive setup. You want that Ashmore to go into the back line and just make sure that no one can stay comfortable. Just keep everyone pushed away. Almost being like a defensive lineman, if you want to continue to use some meat sports analogies.
That's honestly a good way to put it. But it looks like the A is going to be taken as expected. We're going to see the Portland Burnsiders push back and try to hold this. Oh.
Umbrellas, he has jumped all the way past enemy lines and looked at the rest of his team, was just trying to set up in the choke point, and he wanted to go for some action. So potentially a little bit of team miscommunication there, but we'll see what the rest of the squad, if they can find an opportunity based off of that. It seems that we're still going to be hanging out on the bridge. Jay Slay taking a lot of damage. Despite Sazabi being one of the beefiest units in the game, you can't outlast opponent's aggression forever.
Yeah, especially with the current team that they have. This is a really high damage team, and there we go. Awkward high five going down. There is trades on both sides, though, so this is not completely undoable as far as the push. Forte going down, but probably going to be the safe place to get picked back up. This might be the opportunity that Skill Issue needs to push forward. They only need one tick again, of course, on this point.
Someone's there. Someone's trying to contest that and raise that up. Yeah, I knew it. I didn't even have to look to know that it was Killer Umbrellas. He just keeps going back behind enemy lines, and actually, is that a trade? He's able to get a knock onto the Sazabi, and that's not going to be a revive, so that unit being down could be an opening for the rest of the team. But I think Killer needs to just calm things down at this point. Not getting a lot from those constant rushes into the back line. It might just want to play with the rest of the team, because again, they only need that 25% tick. 3.5 minutes, there's a lot of time for them to do it, even if they take it a bit more slow.
That is very much like a ranked strategy, but against coordinated teams, they are not going to let you get that sneaky little one tick in the back line, and it might just be, again, we're going to see the same strategy, but Kill Umbrellas is going to, oh wait, well, it was going to go down, actually, 3 people on the side of Portland Burnsiders going down, because they all turned around. 4, only Boondiggles and Crumb left up, and Crumb's not going to be that good in a 1v1 fight, just based on the suit. That's probably going to be the point, just needs to get everybody off, and that's all they need.
It worked this time around. The timing of where the rest of the team was to follow up on that turn away from that initial choke point to follow the Exia gave the rest of Skill Issue that window to push on it and follow up behind it. Killer survived long enough that, I mean, wasn't eliminated immediately, and it just all fell apart from there.
I really thought that Killer Umbrellas was going to die, but that health pack in that little corner saved them so well, and yeah, that was exactly what they needed. They needed that coordinated push alongside that distraction in the back, because sometimes getting the other team to turn around is more important than anything else, and it seemed like that was that particular situation, and then they got the full team wipe, they just got pick after pick after pick, and that was just exactly what they needed. So really good stuff from Skill Issue. They are going to be moving forward and just continuing to show us how they can do against a lot of these other teams that we haven't even seen yet. Of course, we've seen Mafty, but they still have to deal with IQ. They have to deal with the version of Tekka that is here. I think they're called Last Minute, but they're looking definitely to be a contender in my eyes.
Yeah, so Portland Burnsiders, because they lose this match, they go down to the losers bracket to face off against Allies who have been waiting for quite a while. So we'll see if that works in their favor or not. While Portland Skill Issue, advance into the next semifinal against IQ, which I believe I believe that's the match that we're going up to next. Am I correct with that one? Yes, okay. Yes, we're going Skill Issue versus IQ next. We got to get that one set up. So in the meantime, we're going back to a break. Thank you very much for sticking around with us. We have a lot more Gundam Evolution action coming up after this.